Tech Grouch, and you're watching Super Tech. Good for you! Welcome to another exciting adventure with the Cranky Geeks. I'm your host, John C. Dvorak, and we have a good show lined up for you today. And let's begin it by introducing the guests du jour. First of all, there's Sebastian Rupley, who's the co-crank and editor of, what does this say? Gigaohm.com.
Correct.
That's a website, I believe.
It's a well-known tech website.
Do you guys have a print edition?
No.
Huh. Dave Mathews over there on the end of the table. He's an inventor, as he likes to call himself.
I do have a print edition as well.
And he has a print edition, which is a good thing, and also claims to be a tech journalist so he can get into shows and conventions for free.
I just got into South by Southwest covering it for the website Gear Live, so very exciting.
So you got into the South by Southwest show, but Jim Louderback, who heads up Rev3, couldn't get in, you know.
Yeah,
that's not a news media outlet. That's entertainment.
Yeah.
I'm actually reporting. My feet are on the street.
Sure. Interesting. Sam Levin's over on my left. He's a brand evangelist for various brands. Mm-hmm. So this has to do with cow prods, or there's things that they burn into the side of a steer?
Well, we'll burn them into you as well later on. You know, don't watch it.
What brands are you evangelizing?
Oh, cool.
Name one.
Panama app.
That's enough.
You gotta check it out.
Panama hat.
App.
Details emerge about Apple's iPads. Hold on a second. Our brand evangelist actually has an iPad. He's one of the first to have one.
Yeah, I got mine here. It's the real iPad. Look.
How many pages is that?
It's a pad.
The handwriting.
Isn't that cool?
iPad.
Isn't that cool? It's from a company called NotePod, German company, and you can write on your iPad. I think it's brilliant.
That's the only iPad I will buy.
This is great. I love it.
So do you gonna get an iPad? You said you were.
I'm getting one. I got my iPad case ready. I'm ready.
So does this iPad,
So
you have support Flash?
So can you get iPad? You're gonna get an iPad case for Mathews over there? You're gonna get an iPad?
No. There will be no iPad in my future. I am actually excited about the data plan, where it's a no contract micro SIM. I'm already working on hacking that micro SIM to work into my iPhone, and for $29 a month, I'll have a no contract data feed into my iPhone.
I bet you will achieve this hack too. I've seen your hacks.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
I believe in you.
In 4 months, I'm going to wager $50 that he will have an iPad, whether it's given to him, whether he buys it, he will.
Wait, is there a $50 bet on the table?
$50.
The 50's on the table. That
4
could
months.
be. So the only reason why I might actually buy one is this new SIM.
Oh,
Now he's changing his tune, guys.
What he's doing is just to steal the SIM.
This I need it for the SIM. So I'll buy it. I'll take the SIM out, and then
The bet has to be he's going to get an iPad. He's actually going to use it for something other than stealing the SIM.
He will.
No, some people say the iPad is the answer to the publishing industry's problems, though. That you'll see new magazines appear.
Some
on it that
research just
support
came out
video.
indicating that the kids, you know those kids that are out there, the kids apparently don't care about all these apps for the iPad. They're going to use it as a reader.
Yeah.
Okay.
They say that it could kill the Kindle. They say that it could rejuvenate magazine and newspaper
The
publishing.
Kindle
laws.
wasn't even big enough to be killed. Come on.
Well, when you kill it, it could kill the dead Kindle.
Look, it does so many different things. The Kindle does a few things well, but it does so many things. I was at the iPad launch, and one woman said, "I'm throwing my Kindle in the trash." Immediately.
Did you grab it? You should grab it. Say, don't throw it in the trash. I'll take
She had
it.
the Apple shirt on though, John. He didn't tell you that.
No. She didn't have an Apple shirt on. So it's
I don't
pretty.
know. I was at the launch event too, and it's no doubt it's a sexy piece of hardware, and Steve Jobs did get that right. Such a great job with construction, but it's the big hunk of glass. It's going to get fingerprints and smudges all over. Where the Kindle actually had a matte screen that you didn't touch.
Yeah.
You could actually read it. So I think this
As
is
a
gonna be-
brand, Apple is now like this juicy thing that all the young kids wear. If you're a young kid, like under 15 or so, especially if you're female, you have to have juicy clothes.
Right.
That's what you have to have.
that so hot?
And Apple is this way now. I mean, they will sell millions of
him.
iPads just because it's a new product from Apple.
Yeah, I think there's going to be too many alpha geeks like me.
Right.
And in my blog post, it tells
Wait, back. Alpha Geek is what you call it?
Alpha Geek, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I spend my hard money so you don't have to.
That's a good thing.
You kids at home.
It's exciting. It's going to do a lot of things. It's going to open the door to the Wi-Fi, so you can basically use it to communicate. You don't have to pay.
The Wi-Fi?
The Wi-Fi, the built-in Wi-Fi, which is
Wi-Fi.
great.
Look,
So
I already
that's
have
all
an
I'm
iPhone
getting.
in my pocket. I've got in my Merce, I have a netbook that runs
That's
real OS
that's a
10,
man purse, right?
USB ports. Anyway, that's a different discussion. What do you want to
Well,
talk
wait a
about?
minute. I want to get back to this iPad discussion. You are going to steal the SIM. Now, what's the iPad going to cost you? When does it pay back in terms of saving on the data plan? Have you done the math?
So the problem, I have an iPhone that I don't want to do voice on, and I'm buying the prepaid, the GoPhone service. And GoPhone used to allow unlimited data for $19 a month. But then when they went to the 3G iPhone, they put a 100 meg limit on that $19 a month plan.
Well, that's the 100 megs. That's for you one day.
Yeah, I chew that up in an afternoon.
Yeah.
So with the iPad, they're going to have a $29 unlimited data plan. So most of these data plans on Sprint, Verizon, AT&T, et cetera, have a 5 gig limit. But the iPad uses this new micro SIM. It's 50% smaller than the existing SIM. And they're going to allow you to activate this data plan only on the iPad itself. So I think what I'm going to have to do is activate it on a device, then immediately put that device up on eBay, taking the SIM and placing it into a special carrier that I'm going to have to build to fit inside my iPhone. And then maybe I'll put it in my other phones as well and just swap the
Who's
SIM
going to
around.
buy the iPad without the SIM in
I'll
it?
find some idiot like Sam that wants one.
Listen, just get the iPad, get the Wi-Fi. The first version will only be on the Wi-Fi, right? That's the first ones that will be for sale.
And the next one will have a phone in them, you think?
The next
So you have
one's
a
all
big
3G.
giant phone.
They have like 6 versions of it. There's
So-
6 versions.
So
of
there will
that
be
thing.
$4.95. The first ones are $4.95. Get Panama, which is the app that lets you communicate from 1
There goes
to
that plug
150. There's the plug, and you're done. You don't have to pay a data plan. That's
I want
my
data.
opinion.
I need ubiquitous geo-connectivity.
All right.
We're going to be right back. We'll have more on how to hack these devices with our crew today, right after this message.
I'm Danica Patrick, IndyCar driver and GoDaddy girl. I know a little bit about speed, so take it from me. If you want a fast way to make a name for yourself on the internet, GoDaddy has everything you need. GoDaddy got me online fast, and they can do the same for you. .com names as low as $1.99. When you have something to say it at GoDaddy.com.
With regard to that GoDaddy ad you just saw, just remember that domain names from GoDaddy.com are up to 70% less than the competition. Plus, with the code CRANK, C-R-A-N-K, which you can use, you'll get another 10% off. Some restrictions apply. See the site for details. Okay, back. Okay, so where were we in this debate? Well, yeah, you're going to hack the iPad. You think it's a great thing. You think it sucks. You're not going to buy one. And are you going to buy one?
I'm not going to buy one, but I'm going to watch it carefully. I want to see if all this stuff is true about whether it's the future of magazines.
I give you 5 or 6 months till you buy one.
You know, he'll buy the HP Slate, which will actually give you flash and things that you could actually use.
How about the Atom from India? There's 2 or 3.
All right.
They're supposed to be by the end of the year, according to the guys who make the little chip, the ARM chip, the licensors of the ARM chip. They claim there's 50.
Yeah, they have 50.
Before December.
It's true. Also, Freescale has a chip you can put in these reader devices that's under $10 in volume. So the prices are going to come down on a lot of the commodity ones out there. And basically, if you just want e-reader functionality and that's about it.
Well, even Marvell, the chip company, they claim they're going to have a $99 one of these guys.
Yeah, they will have them too.
And of course, they're a chip company, so they can.
And of
kind
course, at a
bypass the
certain
middleman.
point, these become an answer to the one laptop per child idea.
Sure.
You know, I
And you know
At
the
$99.
yeah.
the Barnes & Noble Nook runs Android. So talk about hacking. There's a great platform. You have a color LCD and the e-ink on top of it. So I'm pretty excited to see what.
Have you
will
played with
evolve
that
from
one?
I have, yeah. It's actually a lot better than I thought it would be. First of all, I'm very bullish on the category. I don't like it at all because. it's
Wait,
not-
stop.
Wait,
You're bullish. You don't like
no,
it all.
Sorry. I'm
Bearish.
Bearish. Yes. The other animal, because I already have all these devices.
I don't want to have a fourth screen. Exactly. That's it.
Say something. You're defending. You're the big fan. You even have a paper version.
This is nothing unusual than what's been going on with mobile devices.
Are you working for Apple? Do you have an Apple contract?
So, they create, everyone's going to mimic what Apple's done, and that's fine. They're going to continue to mimic what they've done, and that's okay. It's just going to give more credibility to the platform. So, you'll all be on the iPad in 6 months.
Next card. Broadband plan is toast. The broadband plan is out, and his promise is a very big plan with ambitious goals for blanketing the country with a high-speed 100 megabits per second broadband over the next decade. PC Mag's Lance, how do you pronounce this? Ulanov?
Ulanov, your nemesis.
Lance Ulanov, though, says it doesn't stand a chance. It's very little citizen support. Huh? What do you mean he has very little citizen
Well,
support?
the idea here is that they basically want to deliver this at high expense to everyone across the country. And what Lance is saying is there's a competitive market out there for broadband, just like there is for everything else, and that's the way it's going to play out. The free market will not be defied here.
Well, telecom has been subsidized for years. The telephones in the city pay for the rural, the connections on that 100-mile run you have to do to my farm that I'll retire on in the next 10 minutes, after the show, actually. But what I'm excited about, though, is WiMAX, right? Because now you don't need the infrastructure. And Sprint and Clear have teamed up. I almost bought that Clear router, the 4G router, that falls back to 3G. Have you guys seen this thing?
Yeah,
I've heard of it.
It's like an octagonal box.
Yep.
But okay, WiMAX, that's great.
You're a WiMAX hater.
No, they pitched this 10 frickin' years ago. Where is it?
10.
It's still
Try longer.
whatever. I'm just saying, show me the money. Where's the beat?
It's in
launched
Portland.
now.
It's in Portland.
Portland,
4G,
Vegas, Dallas.
What does 4G mean?
Coming to LA.
Consumers don't understand what 4G
What?
really means.
It's the next G, Sam.
I understand, but
It's the one that can charge you more money for.
3G plus 1G.
and it doesn't really give you 4G.
Actually, you know what? They're charging less money for Clear service, and they don't have bandwidth caps on it right now. And they were just making a lot of press releases last week that said, no, come on, bring it on, take our network, because they've designed this not as a cell phone add-on. All the 3G stuff takes cell phone towers, which typically have a T1 or a fractional T1,
Right.
and then add data.
Yeah, no, the 4G stuff is happening. Verizon has said that they are on track to roll out in many, many cities.
But that's LTE. That's yet another.
That's different.
So WiMAX
but
Now, this is, by the way, this is confusing. Why don't you explain it?
What I just said.
All 4G is not 4G.
That's
It's
right.
not alike. It's like, this is 4G. Well, how come this 4G doesn't work with my 4G?
that's
What is
right.
the point of them
But
using
this happened
And
1,000
Wi-Fi
years
Max
ago.
should have never been called 4G.
Yep. So this happened a long time ago. Remember PCS? PCS Prime Co., which is now Verizon, came out, and AT&T added a digital layer to their analog TDMA cell phone network in 1994, and they called that AT&T PCS, right when they bought by Metrocom. This happens all the time. This whole megahertz war on television sets, all this is so ridiculous. It's like throwing back old school technologies and renaming it to be cool, like the cool kid.
So what do you mentioned, by the way, I saw them at Costco.
Yeah.
So I go to Costco every so often, and I use it as you do it for market research. See what are the screens they're currently selling. And my one Costco over here in Richmond, the guy knows me, so he breaks down what's hot, what's not, and what's disappeared. And so I'm looking at these things, and there's the 240 megahertz.
So lame.
Right.
And then they got a 120, and then they got the one with nothing, which I guess is 60.
Yep.
Right.
And I'm telling you, you look at them, the 240 looks a little better than the other ones, but I don't see a difference between the 120 and the 60.
Not only that, there's a huge issue, which you probably don't know. If you buy plasma, which a lot of people think is not good, well, that's actually not true. Then it makes no difference about megahertz, about refresh with plasma. You can have a beautiful
Plasma
50 inch.
manufacturers, if they've done the math to figure out what
Right.
the refresh is, and they're calling it like 720 hertz.
Right.
Totally ridiculous. Just so they can get in this stupid war too.
It's very confusing. They can't even market Blu-ray to people that have HD screens, and if they can't do that, then how in the hell are they going to
Well,
market
it's
3D?
confusing. The 60 hertz, that's 120, the 240, and then you get the 1080p. And then Panasonic, by the way, claims that with their plasmas that there's no way that, because they've done double-blind tests, you can tell 1080p from 720p on a plasma unless it's bigger than 50 inches.
If you want an amazing screen, I don't work for Panasonic. The Kuro that means black in Japanese, is unbelievable.
That's Pioneer, and they've discontinued that line.
Pioneer.
Yes, it
sorry.
did.
They discontinued it
killed
last
it.
year,
Yeah,
but guess what? I bet Pioneer comes back with it because it's unbelievable.
Yeah, Plasma's dead, Sam, just like your iPad.
And Plasma is
and you'll
dead,
be using it.
Although Plasma may be better. Anyway, so I'm going in there, and it turns out that you can get a pretty good set now. It looks pretty decent.
Yeah.
For $700.
Oh, sure. The prices have been dropping for a long time on those.
I bought the Nicole Richie of TVs, the little slim Samsung with the edge lighting. Now, I don't like edge lighting. I would have preferred backlight.
The Nicole Richie, that means it gets thinner
Thin.
every week?
Every week,
Okay.
yeah.
That's
But unfortunately, I make so little money that my apartment is so microscopic that I needed that extra.
Oh, you need the extra couple inches there so I can get by.
Right.
Oh, brother. Okay, let's get back to WiMAX. So you're not a big fan of WiMAX because you think it's been taking too long to get to market. You think WiMAX is great.
It's the next coming of wireless
In
Jesus.
about 15 years, we're going to be.
No,
we'll be
I'm,
there.
I'm in with him on this because I've been following it since the inception, especially ever since the one time that the Intel, you remember this maybe 12 years ago or 15 years ago, did a phony WiMAX rollout where they said, here's the WiMAX, look how great it works, and then somebody with some meters, I guess, figured out they were just Wi-Fi and faking it. It was one of those demos.
Didn't you and Kringley have some test wireless? Because I worked for a company in the 2000 era that was doing, late 90s, 97, 98, that was doing MMDS, which was point-to-point microwave.
No, I had one of those systems. I had a point-to-point microwave from Sprint.
Sprint, yeah, they killed
It was
it.
called Sprint Broadband Direct.
Yep.
And they killed it, but when they killed it, they actually let your grandfather for a while, so you could coast on it after they shut down the system, but you could still coast for about 2 years. And meanwhile, people were dropping out, so that you started getting better. But then they just pulled the plug. But they came up and they told everybody, look, don't worry about it. We got a new thing. And it's going to be in the next 2 years. And this, believe me, was 10 years ago, and there was nothing that showed up. And they just killed. And meanwhile, they started rolling out the clear wire stuff all over the place. But what about the San Francisco Bay Area, where they had
I know.
broadband direct?
Why are we always last? We're
Metrocom.
always last.
Why are we
Ricochet.
always last?
Ricochet, I loved
Remember
Ricochet. Yeah, Metrocom.
128K
Yep.
at its highest speed right before
Yep.
Paul Allen got tired of funding that bad boy.
Yeah.
By the way, you call him Kringley, not Cringely? It's Cringely, you know.
Hard to tell. It's
Do
like
you
Olenoff. I
do
don't
you
know how
call SpongeBob SpongeBob?
I just might.
Potato,
All
potato.
right, well, we'll have to. This is not the thing that we won't be following. Google's game-changing Chrome translator. This is my article.
Yes.
I made the commentary that I think this eventually, if Google gets its act together and they have all this off-site translation software, it's going to be quite valuable.
Yeah, actually, the translation
pretty good now.
translation in general, if you just go to Google Translate, it's really very good. It points to a future where websites and certain kinds of things could just have automated translation all around the world, and that'd be a big change.
I think the problem with things like Babelfish is they don't look at a context of a sentence. They just look at word by word. And when you're trying to do a direct translation that way, there's no way you're going to get it right. So, John, how are they going to do this as a context?
Yeah, the
Do with it as a context.
other thing I noticed is you were doing French wine labels or something like that. French, Spanish, those languages tend to do very well with those translations. But go out and try.
No, I
go out and try more obscure languages.
I
it's much worse.
said in the column that it wasn't as good with Asian languages, but the fact that I could put a Korean site on there and get some clue as to what they were talking about, to me, was astonishing.
I was talking to some foreign journalists recently. They spoke different languages from all around the world. There were some folks from Pakistan there. And we went through Google Translate and just punched in a bunch of different languages. And the ones whose home languages were in there, a lot of the less used languages, less popular ones, the translations were terrible.
Well, that would make sense. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back right after this. I'm John C. Dvorak, and I want to tell you about Carbonite, which is a product I use to do online backup. I finally given up on buying those little disk drives. And then I noticed my wife lost a hard disk recently, and she refuses to back up. So I got her an account, and now I don't have to worry so much. Carbonite's $55 a year, which is actually cheaper than a hard drive. And if you use the code word CRANK, C-R-A-N-K, you can get a 15-day free trial. And if you decide to buy it, you'll get 2 months free. Check it out. Carbonite. Back it up, get it back. Hey, with regard to that Carbonite ad, go to carbonite.com. This is the best way to back up your machine. You can get you can get a free trial. Get the free trial for 2 weeks. Check it out. Then, if you want to stay with them, you can subscribe. Use our code CRANK, C-R-A-N-K, and you get 2 months for free. Carbonite.com. All right, so we're looking at Google to flee China. What do you think about this story? This is breaking as
It
we
actually
speak.
looks like they are. You know, one thing I noticed is the Chinese science community came out and said that research is going to be set back by many years if
Good.
Google leaves. Good.
Competitive advantage.
Oh, you know, that's
America
an
will have.
interesting point. Good.
Thank you. Thank you. No, look, they're still going to keep an ad sales group there. But you know what's going to happen? They want us to filter the content. They had all kinds of firewalls. You couldn't keep, key in certain phrases anyway. So it was a hampered device to begin with.
They've got the ad sales. This is the
They're
important thing.
keeping the ad sales team there. So come on, that's
That's all that
all they
counts.
care about.
It'll change. It'll change in the next 12 months. I put money on it. This will change.
What do you think is going to happen?
I think that, just like politics, things change. And they'll go through management changes and, who knows who's in office at the time.
Chinese now under new management. It's not your
No, Google and the politics of China. I mean, it's crazy. So it'll change.
Well, I'm sure the story will keep cropping up. They're getting a lot of coverage. Here's one. HTC squaring off with Apple. Looks like Apple's decided to just sue HTC. And now I guess there's some little, one of our patent holders down in the valley is now suing Apple and everybody else for a bunch of stuff. John Mazuris' old company that's kind of, I guess, floated out of MIPS.
I wouldn't be surprised.
So people are suing each other. This is becoming a
They are
lawsuit.
suing each other. I wouldn't be surprised if the winner in the end with all this stuff is somebody like Xerox. You know how many patents they have from Xerox parked down now on everything related to documents,
Well, don't kid yourself.
touchscreens,
IBM
everything.
has got
Or
patents
IBM.
on everything.
You know, I have 60 patents myself, and I manage billions of patents on the side. But one of the patents they have is they're going against, this is the Nexus 1 phone.
Right. Yeah.
But it's this ability to just draw on the pattern to unlock the phone.
Right, that's a
So
patent.
there's another patent that looks at the light sensor. If you take your iPhone outside, I know none of you have the Nexus 1, but take your iPhone outside, you can see there's ambient light sensors.
Yeah.
And by placing the ambient light sensor to your face, it shuts down the touchscreen. That way you're not going into menus while you're on the phone. That's another patent. So these are pretty fundamental patents. Now, back in the day when the first touch phones came out, like the Trio, et cetera, that was not capacitance. It was the membrane. You needed the stylus. And that technology really didn't have these issues because the screen was so recessed into the plastic. So now that your screen's right by your face and it can use the capacitance and touch your skin.
By the way, this is a little off topic, but in 1990 I wrote what was maybe the second or third book ever to appear on portable computers. And I was just looking at that the other day. It came out at a time when no one had a laptop and no one carried a cell phone. And the people on Wall Street who had what they thought of as cell phones had these huge honking things.
Which
and
is like the iPad.
And if you think about that, that was only 20 years ago. Do you realize how in what short a time we've come to these things that have all this functionality and how people take them for granted? They're always with them.
Well, there's a walk down memory lane.
Hey, it's true.
You old guys, what about the pinching technology?
That wasn't a part of the IP.
No?
So no, it was
Because-
there's two suits. There's one with the ITC, which is the Trade Commission, and one with the in the Federal Circuit Court. So of those 10 patents on each side, very core, very fundamental with operating systems and Linux type multitasking and being able to shut down power to different systems like the camera. This is all going to boil its way out into what I believe is cross-licensing of intellectual property. Now, the problem that HTC has is because they haven't been a brand until now, HTC was just an ODM, an original developer of products for other brands like Compaq,
An OEM.
et cetera. So these, they might have a problem because when you're developing as an ODM or an OEM for someone, you don't necessarily own the intellectual property. Compaq would. So HTC, hopefully they have some IP on their own, and they'll be able to cross-license that to Apple. But look, Apple did this to Nokia. You know, that lawsuit's still pending.
This is
so.
typically the way these things go. Like Jonathan Schwartz just recently left Sun Microsystems and came out on his blog and said that several times Steve Jobs had threatened to sue him over patents while he was with Sun. And he said every time I just came back to him and I said, do you know that Sun has this patent that threatens your patent over there? And that would shut him right
Well,
up.
how about-
And that's the way the game is played.
How about last year or 12, 14 months ago, Creative Labs basically was going to sue Apple, and Apple worked a deal with them they gave them, I think, undisclosed amount of money. I don't know if it was reported. And Creative Labs now supports iPhone, iPod technology. So they both win in the end.
And you know, Cisco had the trademark for iPhone. And now that the next gen iPad hopefully will have a forward-facing camera, then I might buy it. But think about all the technology on video conferencing that Cisco has. You can bet that them licensing that name iPhone to Apple had some cross-licensing on intellectual property as well.
I'm sure there's some stuff Polycom has too that's probably quite interesting. We're going to take a break. Again, we'll be right back after this. I'm John C. Dvorak. This is A Moment with Squarespace. I'm going to show you a little trick that a lot of you might not know about when it comes to editing some of the templates that you have when you go into the back end of the software, which is actually the front end because everything's in Ajax. But let's go over here to this little paintbrush, which is the style editor. You click on that and you want to go to banner and navigation right here and get to the custom layouts. Let's say you're doing something with a horizontal layout and you want to change widths. So the content width, let's say you want to make it bigger or smaller, and then all of a sudden you decide that, well, I want it back to where it was, and then you realize that you don't remember. Just go up to the top here with your arrow and click into the black space, and look at that, it resets itself automatically. It's amazing. I'm John C. Dvorak. That's A Moment with Squarespace. Hey, welcome back to the Cranky Geeks. Here we go. Report. Google, Sony, Intel doing Google TV. New York Times reported that a Google TV platform is in the works from Intel, Sony, Google, and Logitech. So there's a lot of different names. It will run on an Atom-powered set-top box, and Logitech's developing remote controls. The platform will be open to third-party developers to write their own plays. What is this?
I've heard all this stuff about how it'll be open to third-party developers. What it'll be is open source, like Android. They'll just create an easy for them.
Boxy for the rest of us.
Yeah, it'll be like Boxy, only it's Google
Obviously,
branded.
they saw all the coverage that we've had on Cranky Geeks with me talking about Boxy.
Right.
And Google got really excited about this. Intel, what do they want to do? They want to sell more chips, right? And Motorola, Scientific Atlanta, now Cisco, is selling set-top boxes that have very unsophisticated CPUs in them. Boxy teamed with the NVIDIA guys and D-Link to make their box. And that's all open source. For 2 years we've been talking about the whole idea of openness. The problem, though, is this OS on this device is going to be Android. And the G1 only looks good. When you get under the hood here, it's like driving an Ubuntu box. No one wants to use Ubuntu. Everyone wants to use OS 10. Right? So I can just see the error messages that are going to pop up on my mom's TV. Do you wish to install this? This takes control of your Ethernet jack.
You have the wrong Wi-Fi.
Yeah, there's no different, in my opinion, than when I tried to use Boxy. I found it was like voodoo to me. This is another time vampire product that's going to come out of the market.
Yeah.
And I'm not crapping all over this. I think it's cool. You know why? Because it's going to drive other people to develop better products, hence Apple TV 3.0. Mm-hmm. That's what I want to see, is a great Apple TV and a great Boxy for normal people, not just geekazoids like you.
You think Sony would be tired of this platform, though? Because how many years did they waste on web TV? Right? They spent forever on that.
It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
I think this is a dead end.
Because?
I don't know, I just thought I'd say that.
One reason it might be a dead end is because content owners are very protective. That's what Boxy's running into, really. You have had a number of fights with Hulu and everybody else about how open they are compared to how open you want to be. And so,
but other groups like
the issue.
MLB have been very excited about that as a platform.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's true.
The smart ones.
And that's what we want to do, is watch baseball on small screens. So talking about that sort of thing, millions tune in for March Madness online. Did you notice that the NCAA, I don't know if anybody here follows basketball.
Yeah.
But they've got a some sort of a grudge against the Pac-10.
Mm-hmm. Why they don't show the games?
No, they got the games, but they put them in brackets where they're going to get wiped out as soon as they can. The Pac-10, something happened because the Pac-10 this year fell off the map.
Well, here's the thing, though. If you compare the March Madness online video coverage to, say, the Winter Olympics, it's like night and day. I mean, they're doing a good job with the college basketball. And
they got all the
They
games,
obviously
that's why.
understood the dual play between the TV coverage and the online coverage. The Winter Olympics, you couldn't see anything live
but wasn't
on
that,
TV.
that's CBS versus NBC.
Yeah.
CBS has more clues than the clueless NBC.
That could be it, but they're doing a much better job, and they're showing that you have to take seriously these online online
Do
platform.
you remember before this, the Winter Olympics, the Summer Olympics? NBC had the same franchise, and they were doing everything on Silverlight. Remember?
Oh,
There was
right.
like-
Oh, yeah.
You had to download Silverlight.
Oh, that was terrible.
And
I
it was
remember
like, why are we doing this in Silverlight? And I mean, it was fine once you got it working because
Lovely.
it was very pretty, but it was like, nobody had it. I mean, they were just crazy. So CBS wins the war of the networks when it comes to all this stuff. Okay, I got my NCAA thing out of the way.
Fix.
Amazon brings Kindle software to the Mac. Is this a story?
Yeah,
this a good idea?
I think it's a good thing. I have Kindle on here for a few books that I want to read, but as soon as the iPad comes out, later.
I'm telling you, it's working for Apple.
Good. It's good. It's actually a good thing. Now I've heard some complaints already from Mac people that they don't like it.
You heard
really
complaints
gonna
from Mac people?
Are you going to sit
Huh.
with your MacBook?
Wow.
I can understand Kindle on the iPhone. I think that's smart. They
Right.
did an app for the BlackBerry. But are you really going to sit with your MacBook, burning your legs as you flip
Yeah.
through?
That's one of hence the iPad. And I don't read
The
books on
iPad
there.
will be burning your legs.
No, not with this case.
I can't wait for those to catch fire. But that's another story.
Does this thing, is this fireproof, this case?
I don't know.
Or you got a match? Let's find out. Okay. I think it would be a final story here, which I think is an interesting one because it offers all kinds of possibilities. Message from the grave to a cell phone. Phoenix-based company called Objects.
From a cell phone, not to a cell phone.
Yeah.
Right?
To a cell phone.
To cell phones.
Has created the Memorial Rosetta Stone tablet, which makes it possible for cemetery visitors to access text and images merely by touching a cell phone to a headstone. Deceased people can then use it to leave behind multimedia messages to visitors to their graves. But I think the whole system should be that you get phoned.
Well,
Called, hey, this is Dave. Yeah, I'm not in right now. In fact, I'm not going to be in for a while.
Quite a long time.
Well, this is already actually exists. Nokia, not for grave sites, but Nokia developed near-field communication, NFC technology. You know this. It's still not out in droves, but you basically move your phone. You're driving by a freeway or on the freeway, there's a poster there, and your phone picks it up, or you're driving or walking past a billboard. It's got a chip built in. Your phone picks it up, and they're doing that. So,
Look, I developed this technology in 2000. On my gravestone, I will have a QCat, and I'll have a barcode, and you will
QCat.
swipe
And
the
it still
QCat,
won't
of
work.
course. It'll give you a dong.
But I like the fact that you can leave a whole collection of messages there for when you're gone. Like you could have a little message for your daughter, stop chewing with your mouth open, things like that. I mean, they don't have to be real serious messages.
This is like your tweets.
Yeah.
or your
I'm
guilty
lying on my
grandmother.
back. Could somebody turn me over to my stomach?
Or your guilty grandmother.
Quit jumping up and down on the grave, punk. Anyway.
Stop, I'm worm food.
That's it for this week's show. You've been watching Cranky Geeks. I'm your host, John C. Dvorak. See you again next week.